Chris, it really is a beautiful day. I will drink to that. Cheers. Got my plum wine. Had a nice dinner, mac and cheese with some slow cooked beef. Nice cornbread to go with it. Nice southern mac and cheese style meal. Home cooking type of thing. Really hit the spot. Watched Captain America, the new one. Was not very good. Hey, Carl. What's up? Thank you. God, I gotta say, it felt like a birthday gift when I woke up and the weather had changed. I heckin' love fall weather. And it had been like just ever so slightly too hot the past like month. Second it was my birthday, sweatshirt weather. Oh, it was beautiful. And it was so nice too, because I just started doing I know I'm like a little late to the party on this, but I just started playing Pokemon Go. I wanted something to do that was like a physical activity, start getting out of the house and like do like a little bit of exercise, burn a little bit of calories. I know it's not like the best thing to do, but better than not doing anything at all, right? So I needed something to gamify it a little bit. And what a great time for the weather to change right when I started doing that. Oh, so wonderful. Hey, Julian, what's up? I'm surprised you're still up this late. Gonna wait just a few minutes before we're getting started, let people filter in since we just turned on the stream and everything. How's y'all's week's been in Flesh and Blood? Everyone ready for their pro quests? Oh, I missed you. Unlucky. What are you playing? Still in gravy? Back to Ira. Okay. I think Ira's pretty good, but it seems like a pretty shit meta for her. Bunch of mid-range decks, but then she's not better than the other mid-range decks. I can definitely see her do well in like the right field though. You say that, but I also feel that way. I feel like an imposter every time I'm playing Gravy. I make like 6 game losing misplays every game and then still somehow win. Deck's just so difficult to pilot. Oh, heckin' love plum wine. I'm so glad I bought a bunch of these a while ago. Verdance makes a lot of sense. I'm actually planning on practicing Verdance games in the next couple days. Seems like the Gravy matchup needs to be updated significantly. Just the strategies have changed. Hmm. All right. Now, is there anything that I have missed here that you guys think is worth adding before we get started? There's a few things from the Discord that I didn't add that I was just like, either this is too difficult for me to just find an image to add, and I'm gonna forget what it means. Whatever I end up putting, I'm gonna forget why I put it there when I come back around to it in like hours later. Or I was just like, I don't actually have anything to say about this. I think the command is at socials or exclamation point socials. But this is the Discord if anyone wants to join. I'm not hearing anything that you guys think I should add to this other than rock, which I don't think is worth adding. Rock will go into the not cringe, get good category. Oh, you know what I forgot to add? Belittle. Whoever wanted swell wanted belittle also. Let's do that real quick. I think I have the new Fable on there. Yeah, right here. What was I doing? Little? There we go. You're good, Garrett. You're good. Don't worry, we got all the Fables on here. Oh, I heckin' love plum wine. It is stupend. Oh, wait. Hold on. I did have belittle. How do I remove an image? I think we have Leyline. Yeah, Leyline's right here. Bully Tactics. Is that the triple intim? Yeah. That's a good one. Man, I had not considered Bully Tactics. I'm sorry, Belittle Revealing Bully Tactics. I had never considered that technology. I thought I added Traverse. Is Traverse not on here? Yeah, Traverse is right here. I think it's fine talking about cards even if they're not currently relevant. I have no idea. You can ask whoever put it on the Discord why they put it there. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, Leyline is right here, whoever asked that, and then Traverse is right here. You can see my cursor, right? There it is. Apparently my cursor disappears if I click off of this window. Yeah, if I click on OBS, my cursor disappears. That's weird. But when I click back on it, learn something new. I mean, we might be evaluating some cards based on price, perhaps. Okay, my mustache is getting in my wine. Give me like 2 seconds. We give my mustache a clippy clip real quick. All right, much better. I went gone in a flash. Blood Rush is not on the list. Gork is not on the list. I don't think Gorg is like at all worth mentioning for cringeness. Tome of Duplicity, is that the wizard tome that's like Kano's hero power basically? I mean, that'll go in the cringe for being bad tier if we add it. Card sucks ass. Ooh, Strider's is good looks. So like the part of the problem with Strider's, at least Strider's is like a little bit different. There's like a lot of wizard cards people recommended, and I just didn't include because a lot of them were. It's not that that card is cringe, is that Kano's cringe, right? Like you remove Kano from the equation, that card isn't cringe. But I think Strider's is a good example of one that's cringe even without Kano. Hypothermia is a good one. I guess we don't have any ice cards on here, right? We could just talk about all the ice cards. Did I add Striders? I did not add Striders. Download image. Hypo. Channel. Blizzard. I think it's at least worth talking about the ice cards. I need to add another tier. I don't know what to call it though. I want to make a tier for hand traps. What should we call it? Let me add these images. Boop, boop, add. Okay, what do we call the hand trap tier? I don't like that. Oh yeah, Awakening's on here. Don't you worry. Where it is, couldn't tell you. Right here. What do we call the hand trap tier? We need a funny thing. I want to make like a Yu-Gi-Oh joke with it. I think I'm just gonna call it hand traps in my flesh and blood. Okay, we're gonna get it started in a second. Get in your last minute entries if you have any ideas. I think we could do better than is that a maxi? I mean, that make a good um thumbnail of the guy with the butterfly going like, is this whatever, and then like do a video talking about hand traps being cringe and fab. But I think that's doesn't quite get the point across for a tier list name. Chum's on here, right? Yeah, Chum's right here. Don't worry, we got Chum on here. You can bully me. I'll Chum. I'll start the tier list with it right here for you. Happy? Okay. Oh, and it tastes even better now that I don't have mustache in it. Wonderful. All right. Let's get started. Welcome to stream, everyone. Today, we are going to be tier listing all of the most cringe cards and some other things in Flesh and Blood. I had this idea after the last BNR update. I made the comment on my video there being like, it felt like, maybe some of this BNR was based off of social media sentiment. Well, so long as we're banning things based on social media sentiment, why don't we just make our own list of all the cards that we think are a problem in the game and that are omega cringe? And then we have the template for LSS to make their next BNR. So let's get into our tiers, starting off with, of course, S is for Scabs. Scabs gets its own tier on here. If you followed the channel for any amount of time, you know how we feel about this card. Like, why is this an effect that exists in the game? Let me just start rolling a dice to decide who wins the game. If I'm winning the game, I just don't touch it. If I start losing, oops, let's roll and see if I can bail myself out. What a cringe effect to exist in a competitive card game, and it is the best boots choice when you're playing those classes, just because of the armor block on it and the potential to win a game that you had no business winning. What a ridiculous card to fucking exist. I can't believe this card still exists in the game. Now that being said, I've been saying for years, give them an alternative. Give Brute something else that you would choose to play over Scabs instead of banning Scabs, because we know they're never going to ban Scabs. Now, for the rest of our tiers, we've got the who thought this was a good idea tier. This is for things that just like you read it, you look at it, and you're just like, who thought this was a good idea? Like, this just is so obviously a problem that it does not take rocket science to figure out that this was a problem. Then we've got the, what are you, poor tier? For the cards that are just absurdly expensive and just realistically should not be game pieces that you use in a competitive card game for the price tag that they are. Kind of going in the same vein as Scabs, but Scabs gets its own tier. We've got flipping coins is skill-based, of course. This is basically effects that are incredibly random, that you don't really have that much agency over whether or not the effect goes off. Then we've got the way too powerful tier. This is cards that are just cringe for their power level alone. We got the polar opposite, cringe for being bad tier. This is just cards that are just bad. They're just cringe because they're bad. I added this tier because if you did not see on the Discord, we had a thread on there where you, the community, got to submit the cards that you wanted to see on this tier list. And there was a lot of cards on there that I was like, these have no business actually being on the cringe tier list. So we had to make a couple tiers to fit them in. Kind of a similar idea to that. We've got the, gonna jump down a few tiers. Not cringe, get good. These cards just aren't cringe. You're just bad. Get good. Just be better at the game. These cards aren't cringe. Going back to where we were, though, we've got the not cringe, but they're just like a little too good. They're kind of like the way too powerful, but not quite to the extreme of that tier. They're just like a little bit pushed, but realistically, these cards aren't cringe. Decks are allowed to have good cards. We've got my favorite, the this did nothing wrong tier. And I'm sure we're going to have some debate over this tier at some point, but this is going to be some of y'all might think these cards are war crimes. I disagree. These cards are perfectly fine and reasonable in the game. I already know y'all are expecting me to put all the illusionist cards in here, but we'll get back to that later. Yeah, that's going to be the controversy tier for sure. And then last, hand traps in my flesh and blood. I think the name kind of speaks for itself there. Just hand traps are kind of cringe in flesh and blood. So basically every single one is going to go in that category. Now, this is basically every single card that was submitted in the Discord. There's a few here that I did not include because I just didn't think it was at all reasonable to put it on this list, or it was like, I know I had a few on there that I submitted myself that I was like, I just can't think of what to put on the list to represent that. Like the idea of Phantasm, where I would get to it and I would forget what the image actually was, so I just didn't bother putting it on here. Or just a few that was just like, it just doesn't really make sense, so I didn't bother including them. But I tried including basically everything that you guys submitted on there. And then we got a couple odd ones here that we got a Blitzball on here. Somehow Blitzball made it to the tier list. We'll get back to that one later. So let's jump into it and start off with a card I know everyone loves to hate, Red in the Ledger. Where do you guys think Red in the Ledger goes? This is going to be a bit of a community thing. So like if you guys can give your input, I have full reign to veto it and put it where I want, but I want to hear your thoughts on these cards as we go through them. Some of them we might just skip to put them where they belong. Obviously, like hand traps will just go in the hand trap tier. But we got Red in the Ledger. I'm just gonna put it here as a placeholder. What are you guys thinking? Is it a who thought this was a good idea tier? Thank you for the happy birthday, Marowak. Appreciate it. I'm surprised how many people we got saying the did nothing wrong or tier here. The not cringe. Sheesh. Thank you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm thinking the original name I had for this tier, I ended up renaming this, and part of me wants to put it back to its original name. Also, like, I'm kind of triggered by the spacing on this. The who is off center from the idea. You see that? I can't unsee this now. I'm like omega triggered by this. I originally named this the Crash Out tier, which was when this card resolves or effect resolves, you crash out during the game. And I feel like Red was a card that you crash out when it happens. Honestly, I'm feeling like it's a not cringe, just a little too good tier. Because in reality, Red wasn't even good into everything. There's a lot of decks that Red just did nothing to, like Brute, for example. You throw a Red in them and they just go, I block one card, throw 8 at you. It just like actually did nothing. I actually boarded out of Red a lot of the times against KO. It just did nothing. A lot of Guardians did nothing. Like some decks, this just has no text versus. Against other decks, they have a fridge where they can ignore your first Red or two. And they can have a game plan into you where they know this card exists and play the game in such a way where they just like don't get red looped for a couple turns. And if your entire game is, I hope I red or I lose, but they have a plan into it, the game just falls apart for you. And you could just choose to play defense reactions. Like, honestly, this card really just punishes hyper aggro decks that refuse to play any defensive cards and don't have a fridge. There's not many decks that like aggressively get punished by this card. Ironically, other Rangers are typically the decks that get punished the most by this card, which is why you have the gentleman's agreement of not playing red in the mirror. Ironically, one of the last times I played Azalea was against Connor from my team, and I asked him if he wanted to do the gentleman's agreement to not play it. He refused, to which I said, "So you agree I'm the better Azalea player?" Because the only reason you would say no is if you think that you're behind in the mirror compared to that other player. And then he got punished because I red looped him for the first like 3 or 4 turns in the row. Should have taken the deal, Connor. Should have taken the deal. Easy W. But yeah, like decks like Ninja, Ranger, things like that are the decks that get punished the most by red. I would say most decks, this card isn't that cringe. It's just a good card to not even relevant. Agree? I think the card is just one of the reasons to play the deck, and if it didn't have this card, the deck really wouldn't be that good. And you see that now in Marlin. Marlin doesn't have that like ridiculously disruptive effect that tells decks to fuck off. And that's one of the reasons it's just not doing that good. I could definitely see the not cringe get good. But let's be real, red is good. If I'm putting it here, it's because the card isn't good. Red is a good card. I don't think anyone's disputing that. Red is very good. It is the reason that you would play Azalea for the most part. That and the weapon. God, it blows my mind thinking back to when I first got into Fab. People weren't on Death Dealer back then. They were. I remember seeing like deck techs back when I first joined the game. This is back in like Monarch era, and they were on like Redliner and shit. Like, imagine playing a weapon that didn't say draw a card. You gotta be cooked in the head to not play the weapon that says draw a card. Just ridiculous. Man, it was a different time back then. Right? Like, ridiculous. People were so bad back then. All right. I think we know where the next tier is going, and we're just gonna yap about these for a while. The what are you poor tier? All the fables, every single one. Get them over here and get them the fuck out of here. I should have gotten Noah on just to yap about this and then have him leave. Death Dealer. That was the weapon we're talking about. Death Dealer is a broken weapon. I think Death Dealer was actually the reason to play Azalea. Yeah, especially Deathmatch. This is the most cringe out of all of them. You know why it's the most cringe? Because the only thing it does is blow up my library. I worked so hard for this library, and then you just come in here and blow it up? Disgusting. Okay, let's put all these next to each other just so they look a little better. Well, it's only $20 because it's bad. If this fable was played and this was very good, well, you see what happened with Riches. Riches is bananas expensive now. Didn't this like jump to $700 or something? I heard someone say that the other day. I haven't double checked, but I know it was like $300 recently. If this fable saw play, it would be expensive. Because they're fables, they're cringe. If how are you going to make a game piece? Okay, so the fables are cringe for 2 reasons. The first is the price point, and the second is the fact that they're pretty high impact one-ofs. Some of them aren't high impact, but a lot of these are. You look at Library and Light of Soul, insanely high impact when you do the thing with them. Plague Hive, insanely high impact. Making game pieces ridiculously expensive one-ofs that are super high impact is incredibly cringe. I almost named this the "Are we playing Commander now" tier, but I thought the "What are you poor" was funnier. I think really high impact one-ofs like this are incredibly annoying unless your deck revolves around them and has a way to like play towards them, which we're going to get into soon with the next couple of these one-ofs. So I'm gonna hold that thought for a second. But like, what are we doing when we're making these game pieces that like this new defense reaction one? Like, what are we doing with this? When these cards are good, they're so ridiculously expensive, and Fab is already an expensive enough hobby without you artificially inflating the price of the game with these like sometimes staple cards. Like, we should not be making the vanity pieces, the collector's items of the game mandatory to play the game sometimes. Regis is 500. That's fucking ridiculous. That should not be a thing. You're like $1,000 basically to start your gravy deck. What are we doing? 2 cards in and you're at almost $1,000. What are we doing? Oh, I mean, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get that. We got Shelter somewhere on here. I guess let's segue now into these. I'm just gonna throw them here to talk about them. So we got some more one-ofs. These are basically like Fables, where they're like pretty high impact one-ofs, but these aren't ridiculously expensive. Yeah, imagine losing to Syndra. Not, unlucky. I don't think these are cringe. I think the difference with these compared to these is how they end up playing. In the case of both the Guardian one and the Bolton one, you actually have ways to tutor these cards into play. You could say the same for Library. Technically, Bolton could grab Library, but like, Library is not nearly as impactful to the game as this card is, I don't think. It doesn't just say draw a card every turn. Yeah, how much is Leyline? I haven't actually looked at the price. And in the case of Ring, this is a card that like you don't really need to even resolve in a lot of your games. And the games that you do need to resolve it into are the super long games where you're going to eventually find it and get it into play. And the rest of the time, it just doesn't matter. It's just like a good card in your deck that you're fine resolving at some point. And honestly, I could even see this not being a legendary card. I think what would have been nice with Ring of Roses is they made it not legendary, but you can only control one. That way you can block with the others and like you're able to see it more frequently. I would have liked that a bit more with this card because it doesn't feel like the Ring of Roses is that broken, honestly. How do you guys feel about these cards? I know I already kind of gave you my point on how I feel about them, but I didn't actually put them anywhere yet. I think I felt that way more about Ring before when Ring first came out because you were so down horrendous on Earth cards. And then we got Everbloom, and then we got the new 6 damage spell. So like you just didn't have enough cards to make the deck function back then, and now it's a bit better. Leyline's $140 something dollars. Okay, what are you, fucking poor? What are you, poor, bozo? But I think if this was like $20, because it's just a legendary, right? It's not a fable. Because the problem with these is that they're fables. So like if they're ever good, they go to a ridiculous price. If this is ever good, well, it's only a legendary, so there's kind of a ceiling to the price. But realistically, this should not be 100 and something odd dollars. I don't know what's up with that. I think if we lived in like a normal price range, it would probably go with wherever these are going. The Fable is I did not know that the Fable was Jarl. I thought it was a Marvel. I think Ring goes in the did nothing wrong tier. I don't think it's too good. I don't think it's a not cringe get good. I think it's just did nothing wrong. It's just like, yeah, there's a reasonable card. I don't think it's worth complaining about, but I don't think it's like I don't think that it's reasonable to even complain about this card because I think with the not cringe get good category is going to be cards that people do complain about being cringe, and I just disagree with you. I think if you complain about these cards, you're just wrong. I don't really hear people complaining about Ring, to be honest. Maybe that's just like my range of people that I talk to. I think this also kind of goes there too. I don't think either of these cards are remotely cringe or worth even complaining about. Sure, I could see Judge Jury be added to this category. Kind of similar idea though. You can tutor for it, so but also that card kind of sucks. I don't even think Judge Jury is even a good card. And the Angels, again, you can tutor them. Now for the Dragons, I have one on here. We have Tomotai. We can talk about Tomotai now. We can just segue into the next thing. I want to talk about Tomotai and other equipment destruction. We can just jump around. It doesn't matter. Did I grab all the equipment destruction? Am I missing anything here, chat? Do you see anything? Yeah, but Wrath isn't even that crazy of a card. George, weren't you saying that this stream was based? And you're the one here defending the illusionist cards? Okay, before I start yapping, did I miss any equipment destruction here? I don't think so. But any equipment destruction that's here. I mean, we can add batter to a pulp. And I'm gonna have a different opinion about it than the others. Palantir. Do you guys think I should add Palantir? Do you think that card's cringe? Do you guys actually think I should add Palantir? Do you think we should add all of the equipment destruction and then talk about them together and like even if we're saying not cringe? Do you think it's worth us talking about each of them? I think it might be worth it. Now to see if I can spell Palantir. Oh, we did it. Stupid good at the game. What was the other one? It was Palantir and what? I already grabbed batter. T-bone and magnetic. Bro, I'm not adding Art of Dragon. Get the fuck out of here. Bro, we're not adding Already Dead. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, let's just talk about the ones that actually see play, right? Like these are like at least reasonable cards. Okay, so next up we got equipment destruction. I'm sorry if I kind of repeat myself on some of these things of like recapping because I'm probably going to edit this down at some point. So we're gonna crop out the in between yapping. So we got equipment destruction up next, and we got quite a bit of equipment destruction of varying relevance. And as I see it, there's like 3 different types of equipment destruction here. There's like I guess it's like 2. It just kind of happens and there's no way that you can play around it. And there's opponent, like the person playing it has to jump through a lot of hoops to be able to do it. Like Frozen to Death and Tumultai just kind of fucking happen and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, technically, Palantir, T-Bone, and Shockwave are also like that. But these, unlike these are targeted. These say, fuck that specific equipment. These, you only get whatever your opponent feels like giving you, which might not matter, which makes these significantly worse. And you got to really pair these with like other things and kind of get to that point that you can blow up equipment. And technically, Expose kind of goes into a similar category of it just says fuck that specific equipment. But unlike Frozen and Tumultai, there is counterplay. You can just pay money. You can pay 2 resources and stop this from happening. Which ironically, thanks Yazzie, which was like my strategy back when people used to play that in Ultim and I played Dromai. I just played in such a way that I could always pay $2 by always arsenaling a new card. And then if they expose me on my end step, you know what I mean, I would furnish the card I planned on arsenaling to create 2 resources to pay for this. So there is counterplay to this. I think the big difference between all of these is the level of counterplay. I'm going to add like another category just so I have like a spot to talk about cards. This is my like talk about section now. So in my opinion, I actually think the Tumultai and Frozen to Death are actually incredibly cringe. I don't know how you guys feel about this, and I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. I personally think both of these are incredibly cringe to play against, especially when you're playing a deck that just like folds like a wet piece of paper to these types of effects, and like the entire game falls apart. I know that I have personally won a lot of games off of the back of Tumultai of just like, man, I never made a story time of that. Y'all remember Realm Games? At the last Realm Rumble they did like a 20k and a 10k, and I ended up top 8ing the 10k, and it was literally off of the back of Tumultai and Dominia. Every single game, I opened with one of the legendary dragons and just told my opponent to shake my hand. I high rolled every single person. I had the main character energy that day. At the end of it, I was like, man, this must be what it feels like to be Hamilton when you're just like incredibly lucky and good at the game and handsome, and you just beat every single opponent with no real game. Man, it must be nice to wake up every day and be Hamilton. I got to taste that for a day. Oh, must be nice. But that was me. Literally one of my games, I'm looking at my hand and I'm tanking because my line is incredibly good if he doesn't have a popper, but I probably lose the game on the spot if he does. And I know he's playing poppers and he hasn't seen one yet. And I just look up from my hand at him, and I just look him dead in the eye, and I say, I'm lucky today. I'm top 8ing this event. I'm going for it. And my opponent's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I triple Kyloria him, and he's like, oh no. Like, such a ridiculous effect, these legendary dragons. Like there's a Kano that I did that too at that event where I went turn 0 Tumultai, and then I was just like, what do you want to do about this? You want to pop your boots now? Because I know you can't kill me. I was like, how is this a reasonable thing that I can do? Like, I think there's a lot of times when these effects don't really matter. When like decks are like, yeah, whatever, you can blow up my equipment. It's not like really that integral to my game plan. I'm just playing like a mid-rangey deck. It just doesn't matter. But as we've seen, as they give us things like Gravy Bones, just decks that can revolve around an equipment piece, these things can be incredibly incredible. Like not having any counterplay to your opponent, just playing a single card that says, I win the game. How is that a reasonable thing to exist in the game? It kind of feels like the Scabs thing of just like, how is this reasonable? So I think these two, at least, are incredibly cringe. It's just like, where do they go? They're not too bad. They're not flipping coins. Honestly, it might be the who thought this was a good idea. Like, I think I kind of crash out when these cards resolve. Yes or no? Do you crash out when your opponent kills your compass? I think I crash out every time my opponent kills my compass. I think I have crashed out every time. Unless I was winning that game at that point anyways. Gosh, you missed it. We already yapped about Scabs. Scabs was the first thing we talked about. Do you think I should just rename this? Crash Out tier? Okay, we're going to rename it. Also, what the fuck is the centering on this? Okay, I'm gonna make a new category above it and see if the centering's fucked. Because like this site sucks ass. I don't understand. Add a row above. Make it orange, right? Oh, it's centered properly. We've done it, chat. Delete row. I don't think Mask of Momentum is cringeworthy. Do you guys think I should add Mask? Now, as for the rest of these, both of these, there's counterplay to them. You can just block a batter, and you can just have resources and play in such a way where you just keep your arsenal open and play 3-card hand plus arsenal every turn, and then arsenal the new card. Or just put an energy potion in play. That was the other thing I did. I would just like play that way until I found my energy potion, and then once I found energy potion, I didn't have to worry about that mini game anymore. Like, the counterplay exists to these two cards, so I don't think these are cringe at all. Honestly, I think they go in the not cringe get good category. Okay, we can add the masks to here. Man, should we do the throwback and talk about Mask of Many Faces? Only old heads of the channel remember Mask of Many Faces. I remember people giving me shit for making a video about that way back in the day. Let me know if y'all remember that video. I'm curious who was here for the who's an old head. It's okay if you're not. I'm just curious who is. Okay, I added the masks. We'll get to those soon. I'm not going to add recurring nightmares because we just have the hero card new on here. I think that kind of encompasses all of that because just recurring nightmare by itself, I don't think is cringe. I think it's when you combine it with everything else. We could add Kiss. I have Toxin on here. I don't actually think Kiss is like cringe. I think it's Kiss plus Toxin that's cringe. I think if you remove Toxin from the equation, the card's just like fine. It's just like it's just a 0 for 5, whatever. 6, 4, 5, 6. It's a 0 for 6. Like that's just good. It's just math, right? It's just prismatic leyline. You remember that video, Josh? Don't lie to me. Thanks, man. Cheers to that. I might have had a little too much plum wine. I'm getting a little red in the face. I can feel it. But that's okay. Okay, we were still yapping about equipment destruction. Now we've got the mech equipment destruction, which is kind of different than the rest. This is equipment destruction that puts the agency on the defending player of what equipment they want to give up. And I just think these cards are like good. They let you target a specific meta if that's like an effect that's pretty relevant, but it's meta specific and there's agency on the opponent to like play around these effects, like maybe building their deck in such a way that they don't get blown out by this or have equipment they can block with over and over. Like you could literally just sub no rune against mechanologist to have something to keep blocking with. I've done that before. I did that as Lexi at one point where I just played no rune gloves into dash IE because I just needed to make sure that my helmet didn't blow up. I don't. So long as that happens, I'm good. So I don't want to let them just like pick shit off with T-bones. Double T-bone's annoying, but I don't think that's like a problem. Again, you can just play equipment that blocks repeatedly and you're Gucci, right? I really think these also go in the not cringe get good. Because there's counterplay to this, right? Oh my god, don't even Yazzie, don't get me unzipped again. Don't even. I swear to fuck. I think these are just good cards that let you attack a meta that counterplay exists to. I think there's a little less counterplay than the first two, but the counterplay still exists, and they're perfectly fine. Yeah, I think Palantir is like a step above the rest just because the card by itself is so good, where you're not playing it to attack a meta, you're just playing it because it's the best card in your deck. It's just like Felling of the Crown, right? It's just a good card. I mean, that's a video not a lot of people watched, I'm gonna be honest. Now, we have a couple that like honestly we might need to make their own category. Actually, I don't even know if I added more on here, but Crown of Seeds. Now, I wanted to talk about Crown of Seeds for a cringe reason that honestly we could add, I think I'm gonna add Compass for the same reason. So my problem with these two cards and other cards by extension that like are pretty similar to this is how much they run the clock. These are cards that just like waste a bunch of time during the game because of your opponent or yourself. Realistically, shouldn't be your. Yes, exactly. It's the sensei's top problem. You nailed it on the head. They just waste so much time on the clock because you're not normally in Flesh and Blood. You pass turn, you draw up, and you make all of your decisions when your opponent takes their first game action. You know exactly what you're doing on your turn before your turn even starts. Unlike other TCGs, you're not gaining new information on your turn by drawing a card at the start of your turn. So you're able to make a complete, full, and informed decision on your opponent's turn. Cards like this kind of break that, where you're getting new information in the middle of your turn. You could even add Tome of the Imperial Flame to this. That was a problem that I had with Tome of Imperial Flame in the mirror back in the day, where just the existence of the 6 tomes in the mirror, plus like people putting them back in their deck with the that generic attack that put it on top. It just added like 10 minutes to the clock for no fucking reason, because you'd play the tome and then you have to spend a minimum of 30 seconds and sometimes more just thinking about how to resolve your turn now because of all the new information. It's not just like, how do I play my turn now? It's, I have to clear your board. So what is the, I have 6 cards in my hand. Which 4 clear the board the best? And you can't just like instantly parse that information. It just adds so much fucking time. I fucking hate dealing with effects like these in games. It's the fetch land problem too. Just like, we're just adding time to the clock and it's not actually improving the game quality very much. Kano can be a good example of that too, but it's like in a different way. Kano is, I'm doing my thing now, and you don't get to play the game anymore. I'm going to sit here for 15 minutes figuring out how to kill you. Here's a coloring book. That's the Storm problem. That's not the Sensei's top problem. When Kanos are doing that at other points in the game, that usually means they're not very good at the game, right? Like, they should not be humming and hawing constantly during all the turns with the new information. They just like kind of have an idea what they're trying to do. Now, realistically, that should be the case with these also, but I would say that's incredibly prevalent with these cards, of people just wasting a bunch of time with these cards. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been a culprit of this in the past too. When I first started playing Gravy, I was not very good at parsing the information with my compass, and it ended up adding like 15 minutes to all my games because of the constant information flooding. That comes with playing with time of playing the deck, but that is a problem with these cards. And like, newer players or less experienced players at least are going to have an issue with that and just like go to time because of these effects. I fucking hate these things. I hate them existing in games, and I especially in Fab with how information works in this game. Sounds like y'all kind of agree with me as well on this. So where do they go though? It's not an issue of it being powerful. Do we have to add a new tier for these? I think we have to add a new tier. Well, it's not a problem of you getting good. It's a problem of your opponent not getting good. I can't make my opponent get good, right? Like I'm complaining about my opponent being the issue here, right? True. Who thought Compass was a good idea? Get rid of Compass, and then now these aren't good anymore. I'm gonna make a time waster. Yeah, we're gonna make a Sensei's top tier. Yeah. All right. Awakening. How do y'all feel about Awakening? We probably got some people here that have just never even played against this card before. Because this is kind of an old head problem. CYB is not going to go into that tier, and we're going to talk about that in a second. What? Awakening is perfectly fine. Just don't go lower than them. That was actually the strat back in the day. You would purposefully go down in health with the Starvo so they could never resolve Awakening. That was like one of the reasons that some people didn't play the card, because they knew against higher skill opponents that they just couldn't resolve Awakening. You kind of needed it though versus some of the aggro decks, but thanks, Josh. One card 20. Actually, is it even 20? Isn't it like 18? Because you grab Pulverize and then the Pulverize is worth 18? It's your hero power that's making it 20. Is there any way to make it 20? No, right? True! Get good. Did nothing wrong. Perfectly balanced. Just don't hit them too hard. True. See? Julian gets it. Obviously, this card's busted. Is it Crash Out, or is it just way too powerful? I'm gonna move this over here. Remain bad and complain. That's a valid strategy. That's usually my strategy. That's gonna be my strategy with ProQuest. Just complain all season if I can't play. It's definitely way too powerful of a catch-up mechanic. This card was like one of the things that made me want to start making content, because I was talking about how broken this card was back during Tales, and everyone told me I was a bozo. And I wish that I had made a video talking about it, because I knew I was correct about this card, and it only took us getting one set for this card to just immediately break. Honestly, I don't know if it's Crash Out tier. I feel like Starvo and existing is almost Crash Out, but like, what do you guys think? How do I make a poll? Okay, what do you guys think? Is it crash out tier or is it way too powerful? Oh, a lot of people saying way too powerful. I'm gonna let this run for another like 15 to 30 seconds. All right, seems like you guys are thinking way too powerful. I'm inclined to agree because I feel like I didn't crash out when my opponent resolved this card. I just kind of like rolled my eyes. I think my reaction to this is like the same reaction that I had to Codex, where I'm just like, "Yep, resolve the Codex. Yep, you drew your funny card." I'm not like mauling and raging at my opponent after they resolve it. Just like calling them all sorts of slurs and leaving the store in a puff and a puff. What card is this? It's Awakening. So it is it's an instant. I'll just show you guys. I'm too tipsy. Cost 2, it's a blue, doesn't block, it's an earth, it's an elemental guardian instant, you can earth fuse it. If you have less life than the opposing hero, you make seismic surge tokens equal to the difference in life. If it was fused, you make twice that many, and you search your deck for a guardian attack action card with cost less than or equal to the number of seismic surges you control, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So it is a 2-cost blue that searches Pulverize or Crippling Crush, or if you're not that down horrendous, it'll just grab you an Oaken Old. And it basically just says, like, one card, flip the game into your favor. It's insane. And then you still have $1 floating, so you can either shield or Crown of Seeds afterwards. Well, the problem is you couldn't lay down your hand because it'd be dominated, usually. So you don't even have a choice. All right, let's end this poll. Yeah, this card was absurd. It basically meant that you couldn't race Starvo, because if you raced the Starvo, they would just one card flip the game on you. Like, how do you beat a 2-card 18? Because they'd grab a Pulverize, deal 14 damage to you, and then -4 your next attack. Like, it's impossible to race a deck that can do that. And they had 3 of this fucking card. It was absurd. All right. CYB. How do y'all feel about CYB? I think there's an argument for putting it in the time waster tier. But honestly, I don't think I want to put it there because I don't think this is a time wasting problem. I think this is a power level problem. This card was absurd. It certainly does not go here. Honestly, I don't blame you for that. I think this card was an incredibly bad play experience. And it's baffling that this was able to be legal for as long as it was. My headcanon is this card would have still been legal for longer if it weren't for that game on stream from the World's Finals. Because that was such a bad viewing experience that I think they went, we can never let this happen again. Get rid of it. That this just looks so bad for the game. Get it the fuck out of here. And the reason I think that is because when you hear them talk about it, like the LSS people, they seem to still think it was a skill issue problem of just like that. Just get good. I think they thought it was not cringe, get good. Just put Gravekeeping in your deck, one head. Just there's counterplay that exists. And that really does not tell the full tale. because this isn't necessarily even a math issue. It's a play pattern issue of how a lot of the decks that played this engaged in the game. It was such a big ask of your opponent to be skillful enough to overcome your fatigue strategy. It was a knowledge check at the beginning of the game. But the ways that you punish fatigue is typically by setting up and damage stacking, and this punished that. So now they're forced into jamming their hand into you every turn, or you'll gain a bunch of life. But then by doing that, you're playing into what the fatigue deck wants you to do, so you never get a chance to damage stack. So it becomes a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. And because you're doing that, you're adding failure states to your game plan where shit can fall apart, and if things fall apart, you don't have enough damage to actually physically kill your opponent again. Yes, it was also a tournament issue. I'm not sure if I agree with life gain deserving a premium. I need to think on that more, and that's been something on the back of my head ever since that got banned, and thinking about that and Verdance and Lyeth and like how life gain interacts with other things. So I'm gonna like reserve my opinion on that. It's just something that I've thought about a lot, and I still can't come to a consensus. Because like I guess we'll grab this while we're talking about it. Sigil Solus. I don't think Sigil is a problem. I think this card is perfectly reasonable. I know exactly one person that bitches about this card, and he's a buffoon for it. Sorry, Jesse. You're a bozo. This card's not cringe. Not cringe, get good. It's just a healing salve, man. It's not that deep. The problem with this is the math of how it ramps up and the strategies that you engage with when you're doing it. Because just putting 3 sigils in your deck doesn't let you just suddenly turn your deck into a Giga Fatigue deck. You put in 9 CYB, now you're able to actually enact a strategy revolving around this card. You can't really do that with just Sigil. It's just not enough. Just poison one head. But that seems to be like their reaction to our reaction to CYB. They seem to react to it the same way that we should be reacting to these types of cards. The counterplay exists, just do it one head. But it's such a deeper systemic issue of how this card actually interacts with the game. So again, same question. Where does it go between Crash Out and Too Powerful? I feel like it could be Crash Out, but I don't want to like bias everyone else's thoughts on it, because I think people have a more visceral reaction to CYB strategies than Awakening. Like Awakening and like the Starvo by extension was just, that's kind of cringe that you're playing the best deck and that you're playing a crayon eating deck. This is fuck you, you're playing Fatigue. Like people have such a big reaction to Fatigue where it makes me think that that's a Crash Out level card. But what do you think? Yeah, Sigil's better when it has the modality to it, but I don't think that breaks the card. Like, Acilio being able to discard this doesn't break the card, or any of the other shenanigans Acilio can do with it. Dromai turning this into an action point doesn't break the card. Like, most of the time, I would still rather play a 0 for 4 go again as Dromai. That's just better. Really, the strength of this card is when you reach endgame scenarios, and life gain can be pretty significant because your opponent's trying to leak 1 point of damage for lethal. Surprise, I'm at 4, not 1. And that, like, leads to weird play patterns. But that's just like a we're playing the game type of thing, right? Like, that's just, this is a thing that could have happened and you should have played around it type of thing. Is there anything that we could add here that just represents Fatigue as a strategy? I think we should also just add that while we're talking about it. In your minds, what most represents the idea of Fatigue that isn't CYB? I don't think CYB being an instant was the main problem. That made it better. We already have Remembrance on here. We can talk about those next. We got Remembrance and Drone. Oldhim comes to mind, but I don't think that's... I think that might be a little confusing to someone looking at it. I want to talk about hand traps soon. I'm going to move these up. Old New's not a fatigue deck. That's just a thing it can do. What are the most iconic fatigue decks of all time? Oldhim? What's something that was iconic from Charles's Oldhim deck back in the day? Warhorn? Can we find Charles's deck? Is it Healing Bomb or Sunkiss? I always thought this was so goofy that he was playing Pulverize in his deck. The reason why he was playing this was so that way he physically had a way to kill his opponent when they fatigued in time. He would just pulverize them a couple times in a row once they decked out, or remembrance it back to do it a couple times. That was so goofy. Because like, oh, I have 3 minutes left and hammer isn't fast enough type of thing. Ah, fuck it. Let's just do Oldhim himself. Whatever. I'm not wise. What was the reason for the split on that? Young Oldhim? No. Actually, I'm gonna go to Google Images. What comes up when we think of fatigue? We're gonna go with this. Oh no, it's a GIF. Oh fuck. I can't get rid of it now. Whatever, we're stuck with this now. We're stuck with the GIF. I fucked up. Oh no. Well, it's just the guy passed out on the ground. That's fatigue. What is this tier list? Okay. So drone. I had someone put drone and remembrance on the thing. I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts on this because I don't really have that many thoughts about these, and I would just put them in the did nothing wrong and kind of move on. But I'm curious to hear opinions from other people on these two cards because I just don't really have very many thoughts on them. I could definitely see them go into like the time waster tier, but I don't know. I don't really view them that way. I view like remembrance typically as an anti-fatigue tool more than a fatigue tool. Do people actually think induction chamber is cringe? Sure, but like anything that recycles cards breaks that fundamental. And we have enough of that kind of effect in the game that I don't even know if I would call that a fundamental anymore. Like we have so many earth cards that recycle cards back in the deck where it's more of a it breaking a fundamental that it's generic and does that. But I think you run into an issue of decks not having access to an effect like that if you don't make this generic, making fatigue too strong. Yeah, drone breaks a fundamental. There's a reason it's on the ban list. But like, where does that go? Drone's like a little cringe. Drone, like, is it cringe just because? Yeah. Is it cringe just because fatigue is cringe and it just like it's married to this? Like, I think I want to put remembrance in the did nothing wrong tier. I think people that complain about this card are just wrong. But I'm willing to humor arguments of why I'm wrong. I don't think this card is cringe. But like a time waster is the effect of the card wasting time on the clock. Drone isn't wasting time on the clock. You're just blocking with it, and then it goes on the bottom of the deck, right? Like you're not wasting time. It's just a win condition for the fatigue deck. Yeah, I've never played with or against drone before, so I also don't have an opinion when it comes to that. I can understand it being cringe for fatigue, though. Okay, one thing at a time. Do we like the drone going with crash out just because it's married to fatigue, or do we think this should go somewhere else? Going once, going twice. I do think fatigue is pretty similar to CYB, where it's like this just makes fatigue way too strong if this exists. Okay, we're just gonna put it here because it sounds like no one's ever played with a goddamn card. And I'm just gonna say drone is a fatigue card, and if fatigue is here, then drone is here. I can't wait for someone to screenshot this and put it on like Reddit or something later. People are just like, what the fuck is this guy laying on the ground on the tier list? Someone please do that when we're done with the tier list, just because I want to see the comments on Reddit. Did you guys know that I'm banned on the subreddit? I got banned for posting my videos on the Reddit. What the fuck? Now that goes on the cringe tier list for sure. I'm pretty sold on Remembrance in the did nothing wrong because people definitely complain about this card. So it doesn't go in like any of the other tiers below it because people definitely complain about this, and I think people are just wrong about this card. I think it's just a tool against fatigue, and that's as simple as it is, really. No. If you're just starting to watch, we were talking about all of the equipment destruction. I just wanted to, so long as we're talking about most of it, someone brought up Palantir, and I was like, okay, let's just add the rest of it so we can talk about the types of equipment destruction. It was literally just because I think the argument was I don't participate enough in the Reddit community outside of posting videos. Okay. Other people definitely do that all the time, but like whatever. All right, Pummel. Now someone put Pummel here. And I'm inclined to think that they put it on because Pummel is annoying to play against. But we're going to go a different direction with Pummel. And we're going to grab CNC. It's definitely on here. But I am very stupid. Chat, I'm blind. Where's CNC? I definitely added it. There it is. Found it. Thanks, chatter. Oops. Hello, let me close it. Oh, I chose the wrong color. I'm a boob. There we go. What the fuck? I can't see it. This is bullshit. True? True. True? If we're just talking about the cards themselves, like we're not being shit posters, they obviously go here. But I mean, come on. Of course. Of course. That's pretty cringe. Does it get Hey, it's not just Brody. It's also what was it, Jamie at UK Nats. Never forget. The only thing that I said during that whole thing, and I caught a lot of flack for that, was how you win matters. That's like a what was that movie? Oh my god, they were in space. Yeah, Jamie did that too. It was against a Katsu, and the guy was playing pummel Katsu to pummel his surging strikes. That's a whole other thing. We're not gonna Ender's Game. Thank you. That was a quote that stuck with me from the ending of Ender's Game. How you win matters. That is lived rent free in my head my entire life. I think that's the way that you play these games. It matters so much. At the end of the day, we're playing a game, and if all you're trying to do is get an easy W, no one's gonna respect that. You know what I mean? And if all you care about is the check at the end of the day, that's fine, whatever. But I think if that's all you cared about, you'd be doing something else with your life. So most of us care about more than just signing the match slip at the end of the day. So how you win truly does matter. Matters to me. I think it should matter to you. I think it matters to a lot of people. I wanted to make a video about it back then, but I didn't want to like dogpile more on the situation. Now it's just funny, and I think it's fun to talk about. And I'm glad that policy has changed in such a way since then to allow the leniency in gameplay to make it so things like that don't really happen that much anymore. I think how much fun you have matters to some people. Because I know for a lot of people, the fun matters zero to them because all that matters is the competitive aspect of the game. The the fun comes from winning and losing, but that's not the whole story. I think Cody's a good example of that. Cody doesn't have fun from just like, the game of like playing the game with the opponent. He has fun from the process and the result. But how he wins matters a lot. It's being able to look at yourself in the mirror after you play the game, you know what I mean? Now, I hope to God I never catch some strays on these types of things in the future. This will get clipped into oblivion if that ever happens. But I always try to play as above board as possible. It's also difficult where I play like really complicated decks, so I always try to make sure my opponent actually understands what's going on. I even have an anecdotal experience about that where I had a moment of that during PT Amsterdam. Actually, I have two anecdotal stories. I was playing against, oh God, what's his name? Nick Butcher, and he was playing Assassin, and I was playing New Prism, and I had a pretty ridiculous board state, and it was pretty easy to miss something on my board. And he missed the fact that I had no Phantasm on my first attack, and he blocked the Popper. And then we had a judge thing about that, and I was like, it's whatever. So like, I can understand if the judge allows a rollback, I'm not going to say anything about it. I totally understand. Whatever the judge says is perfectly fine on this. And I know the lighting was a little weird on there, where one side of the table got more glare than the other. So I was like, it's whatever. Now, ironically, after the fact, I realized it didn't matter in another direction, because even if he wanted to pop, I also had a parable in play. So it didn't even matter that I had a passing. The Command and Conquer can't pop anyways. But that's a separate thing. And then I had at the calling at Nationals for MST metagame. So this was not the most recent Nationals, but the one before that. I had an opponent play a Sacred Art with another Chi, and he did it in the wrong order, because you need to make sure that the Sacred Art sees another blue was played. Otherwise, you choose modes as you cast the Sacred Art. And I told him, like, is that the way you want to resolve your card? I'm not going to play the game for you. I said that. I'm not going to, it's not my responsibility to play your cards for you. But are you sure that's the way you want to resolve your cards? If you would like to take that back, you're welcome to. Because I don't think that's what you want to do. And I let him figure it out from there. Because it's tough, because there's a weird line where you can't hold your opponent's hand for playing the game. We're still playing a competitive game. It's not your responsibility to do everything for them. But also, you can't angle shoot your opponent. And I think that's where the line is. It's when you know something that you did is wrong, and you shouldn't have done that. But I think we've yapped about this for long enough. I don't want to keep harping on this. I just think this is funny. Okay, let's talk about masks. Someone wanted to put masks on here. Whoever said mask earlier, feel free to yap about this in the comments for a little bit. Because personally, I mean, if we're being based, Mask of Momentum for me is Crash Out, obviously, because I play decks that get shit on by this card. If I'm being objective about it, it's certainly not up there. Mom just says, please block. Like, all that's all this card does. It just says, please block. Stop no blocking me. I'm pretty sure it's either here or honestly here. Like, because people definitely complain about this card. I mean, I complain about this card. I just, I don't think I can, in good faith, say if I'm being based, I would put it here, but then not put it here, right? Like that. Come on. I can scroll up on the list a little bit for you. Feel free to go back and watch the VOD. Do we have any disagreeers on Mom? Yeah, but that just says block twice, right? Like Flick Knives just says block 2 chain links. Block for 3, then block for 4, right? That's all it says. I make fun of one of my locals because she has her decks max rarity, and I always make fun of her for her Marvel Command and Conquers not blocking for more, even though she spent like $700 on them or whatever the fuck it is. They still block for 3, even though you spent more money on them. Bro, imagine max raritying your cards that are just going to go to the graveyard because you block with them. Come on. Do we have any disagreeers on Mom? I don't think so. Yeah, for sure. This was. I mean, I think this has been good content. So this is, I think, a VOD worth going back and watching. Okay, Lynx. I think Lynx has had moments that this card probably should have been banned. The fact that at one point, before the Bonds of Ancestry ban, I'm pretty sure Dan in his Zen list was actually just playing Lynx and not Traverse, or playing Lynx in most of the matchups at least, should speak volumes to the power level of this card. When you're comparing this to Traverse, come on. Card's a little pushed. Somehow a bug got in here. Oh, wait, it landed. Oh, I got it. This card is absurd. Like, it being able to grab a card that's like 6 to 8 value is pretty nuts. What just fell over? Whatever. So I think this goes in like somewhere in the too powerful range, like way too powerful. It's like either here or here. It's a question of, is Lynx cringe? Hey, thanks for the happy birthday. So what do you guys think? I think I don't think there's any objection on the card being powerful. It just is Lynx cringe. Now keep in mind with your vote, you need to also think about the times when Lynx has been good. You can't just evaluate this like, oh yeah, people aren't playing this card right now, it's not cringe. You got to think about, Stubby Hammers moments with this card. You got to think about OTKs that this card enables. This in Zen back in the day, this in Phi back in the day when you had Stubby Hammers. This can do some stuff in Syndra still where you get like Blood Runs Deep, I think is the name of the card, and have like a crazy combo turn. So don't just evaluate this as the people don't play that much. People do play it in Syndra now? Good. I think they should. Card's very good. I think this makes your fatigue matchups better. If they're going to block anyways, then like might as well play a helmet that punishes them for blocking a little bit, but not everything. Sounds like you guys don't think it's cringe though. I'm perfectly happy saying it's not cringe. I just want to make sure that you guys weren't just evaluating it in the right now. It's definitely a very pushed card though. For some reason, someone put Gambler's Gloves on the thing. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like this one was a question mark. This and Waning Moon were, huh? Why are these on here? What? Who thinks these cards are cringe? Yeah, someone has. I mean, I definitely have PTSD from Gambler's Gloves because every time I play Gamblers versus Brute, I roll them into a better roll. So I just stopped even trying with that. Now, do we put gamblers and flipping coins as skill based? I feel like no. I think these are just like not good cards. Sure, but they probably just shouldn't be playing gamblers gloves and KO, right? I don't know. I think these cards suck. I mean, certainly did nothing wrong. I think both of these go in the did nothing wrong tier. Like I think what's the meme with the black guy with all the question marks where he's like, "Huh?" That's like my reaction to when I read these cards on the tier the thing. All right, now we're getting to some cards that I fucking hate. Right into the hand traps are cringe. Like why are we printing hand traps in Flesh and Blood? And why are we making all the hand traps blue block threes where there's no downside? Hey, thanks, man. Um, like why are we making these blue block threes where there's no downside to including them in our deck? This card was so cringe when you're playing Viscerai. Is cringe when you're playing Enigma. God, that was one of the reasons I stopped playing 10K. I was practicing mirrors with someone on the team, and the very first game I tried playing mirrors with 10K, I got rippled, and I just scooped it instantly and said, I'm not playing this card ever again. Like, the game just ended instantly from that. Fuck that. Yes, hand trap is a Yu-Gi-Oh term. It's a disruptive effect that you couldn't know existed prior to it happening. Let's grab the rest of the hand traps while we're here. Is collapsing trap a hand trap? I don't know if it is. Are traps hand traps? That feels so retarded to say, but like I don't know. It's a trap, but is it a hand trap? Because the thing with hand traps is typically when they're being played, because normal block thing that if you say that these are a hand trap, then you're also saying every clash card is a hand trap, right? I don't think that we can call these hand traps. Because you could technically play around these. Did I miss any hand traps here? I think I got them all. I don't remember what this card does. This is the thing that like does stuff to allies, right? I'm gonna have to pull that back up when we come to it. You can play around block cards though. So like for instance, Test of Iron Grip, you can sequence your turn in such a way where the discard happens when you don't have a hand. Or you keep cards in your hand that can play at instant speed in case they have that kind of disruption. Like for example, you have a Sigil of Solus in your hand to play around it. There are ways to play around that. Technically, you could make that argument for any hand trap, but some of them that doesn't really happen. Like, and these basically end the game instantly when they do their thing. It's just like instant speed interaction, basically. I think you could argue though that not all instant speed disruption is built equal. Like I think both of these are leagues below how cringe these two cards are. Honestly, I don't know what card this is. Wait, is this Warmongers? Yeah. Now, this is a card that feels like it should go in the hand traps category because of kind of how it plays, but it isn't a hand trap. I do think this card is incredibly cringe. I think it might be crash out tier. Like, when Warmongers does the thing, it is so backbreaking. Like, it is just a time walk. When someone Warmongers you and you're playing Ranger, I'm pretty close to crashing out. What do you guys think? Okay, I get at least so long as I'm not the only one. I think kind of a similar vein. Siren's Call also crash out. I think we can bang that out pretty quick. Like hand disruption that I could not play around is pretty cringe. Taking the card from my hand that I need and forcing me to block with it when I already blocked. And now my turn doesn't function. True. That this is probably like up here. I do think Warmongers is less of a crash out than Fatigue. I think Collapsing Trap is also pretty crash outy. I don't know. Maybe it's not. What do you guys think? I haven't actually played against Collapsing Trap enough to really have an opinion of my emotional reaction to this card. True. At least you got to play all your cards. You got to play all of them. You got to play every single card in your deck. You got to play the most flesh and blood out of anyone. I mean, realize Collapsing Trap is the one that you like discard your hand and then draw that many -1, right? I mean, realistically, Collapsing Trap is just like a Siren's Call, right? Like it's just making you discard a card, but it can only happen once, and it doesn't take the card out of your hand that you needed the most. And like you get through it, and it happens once, and you're like, that was pretty annoying. Anyways, you're playing a shit deck. Who cares? Is this crash out? Is it way too powerful? Is it not cringe? Just get good? What the fuck did I just do? It's not flipping coins. Get out of here. I'm gonna let you guys pick where this goes. Where do you think Collapsing Trap goes? Crash out? Crash out? Okay, but Riptide isn't good. So is it crash out? Okay, let's come to this in a second. Let's talk about flipping coins then, since you don't know what that means. Let me find a card that qualifies as. There's a couple. There might be some more in here that I'm just not seeing. It's literally just you're flipping coins to decide if you get to win the game or not, right? Like this is technically the Scabs tier, right? No, Blood Rush is just a good card. Blood Rush, like, you're not really flipping coins. You block with a card that's a miss, you resolve the Blood Rush, and then you have a good turn. Like, it's not really flipping coins. Both of these, you're just literally flipping coins. I mean, it's not literally because it's rolling dice, but you know what I mean. And then Trouts can be that as well. I actually won my first Trounce the other day. At the AGE that I won a Trounce, and then I had to ask my opponent, what happens? I've never won before. What do I get? And I was so excited that I got a gold. I was pogging so hard. Ancestral Harmony, I think you could argue is flipping coins, but the Anthem alone, I think, just makes it good. I think we can make an argument that it's flipping coins. You know, I'm willing to humor that. I think Trounce is like the least cringe out of these though, because a lot of the times if you're playing Victor, it's because you're playing into a meta that you're just like winning your clashes anyways. Otherwise, why would you play Victor? Yeah, I think we have Sonata on here. Let's put Sonata there too. This card was so annoying back when Briar was like first legal, because just the 1 point of extra arcane that you were getting off of this was just so annoying. It was just a 0 for 5, and the margins were so small back then that just getting a 0 for 5 out of nowhere was so annoying, and it was half an embodiment as well. It's truly. I had a spreadsheet at one point where I was keeping track of my Sonatas because I was playing Briar in that skirmish season for Blitz, and when I did Sonata for 0, I had a hit rate of 25%. And when I paid into Sonata, I had a 50% chance to hit one card based on all of the games that I'd played. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is absurd. How can I be so unlucky? I just stopped playing the card. I was like, this is nonsense. I'll just put a better card in my deck. If I'm just going to miss every time, who cares? What card got banned for Briar's Sins? Wouldn't that just be Ball Lightning and Plunder Run? We could definitely have a tier somewhere on here too for like rules nightmare cards that are cringe, like Ball Lightning and there's another one someone said earlier and I forget what it was, but I don't have enough to say on those of like giving examples of the rules interaction things that were cringe, so I didn't want to bother putting it on because I didn't have much to say. Too late for me to remember which ones what were the rules interactions that were cringe. Okay, back to collapsing trap. So it sounds like you guys think crash out. Are we doing crash out for this card, or are we saying something else? If you don't think it's crash out, tell me where you think it should go. Art of War is in here. It is right here. I want y'all's opinions. Is this a crash out? You think collapsing is get good? Yes, this is collapsing trap. I've got a couple for crash out. We got to get good. We got to did nothing wrong. Another get good. I don't think it's get good. I want to be honest. I think it is still cringe. I still think this card is cringe. So I think putting it in get good would be disingenuous because it is still cringe, right? Let's just throw it here and call it a day. So I think it's way too powerful. We're not flipping coins. Sounds like we're thinking it's not a crash out. It is cringe. Can't put it here. It is cringe. Can't put it here. So it sounds like it goes here. By extension, I think it's Tar Pit Trap also goes with that. If we're going to say that this goes here, honestly, I think that goes here. Just not cringe. Just be better at the game. It's like pretty annoying when that happens, but like whatever. Don't play into Riptide expecting your hit triggers to happen. Right? I don't actually have felling even on here. Nobody said felling on the thing. We can add that later. Let's get through some more of these before we add even more cards. We're adding cards faster than we're getting through this. Okay, let's talk about the 0 for 4 D-Reacts. I don't think Sync and Fate are cringe or a problem. I think the biggest issue with these cards is them potentially limiting design space. But I held that opinion before we got Shelter, because I figured so long as these existed, we probably weren't going to get more 0 for 4 defensive cards. I guess we were wrong. They just made an even better 0 for 4 defensive card in Shelter. So I don't think these are cringe in the slightest. I think they go and they did nothing wrong. Or not cringe, get good. I don't even think it's a get good. I think they just did nothing wrong. Shelter, on the other hand, what are you, fucking poor? Honestly, Command and Conquer should probably also go there, but we have to keep the meme. I'm so baffled by this card existing at Majestic. But it's really just the compounding issue of like all the supply chain issues. Because like you guys see, I do mass box openings. I was never able to get more hunted boxes. My store just like couldn't get them. It seems like a lot of the pricing issues of recent stuff has just been, supply chain stuff exacerbating that. I don't know if that's true. That's just my anecdotal experience with the market. Could be wrong. So don't come to me for that kind of information. I'm not going to have the answer for you. That's just what I've seen. Yeah, like I think these have their moments where they're better. But this is a powerful card. I think we can agree on that, right? Now, I don't know where to put this one. We might have to make a new tier for this. Serenade got added because of specifically the errata. Just cringe because of the errata. That being said, before we even add another tier, is that even cringe? Or not errata, but the typo. Is the typo actually cringe? Because I think Aurora was a good deck without this card. And then if that typo didn't happen, we just would have gone okay and not played this card and moved on with life. Like, I'm ready to put this here, but I want to hear what you guys say. What do you guys think about Serenade? Specifically, the fact that it was typoed. We're not talking really that much about the power level of the card. Do you think it was cringe that it was typoed? I also think it would have been boring. This card just wouldn't have seen play. Like, this card just would have been bad. Did nothing wrong? Yeah, I think it goes here. With specifically the errata part. I mean, the power of Aurora was her popularity, not the power of Aurora. Yeah, that was pretty goofy. Let's talk about that. Was the way they handled it cringe? Do you think that was cringe? Because like, what would you have preferred? Would you have preferred we got the armory decks? They realized it was typoed. They told us that wasn't the intended printing, and we now have to play with an eroded version of the card. Is that your preferred timeline? If it is, I'm interested to hear that. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong if that's your opinion. I'm genuinely interested to hear if you feel that way. Because I think that would have been worse. I think that erratas are typically pretty bad. 100% what? What are you saying 100% about? That you think it would have been better this way or a different way? Honestly, I think they could have just said fucking nothing about this and we would have never known, and that probably would have been better. Yeah, it sounds like you think the same thing. Just like we didn't need to know. I think that would have been better. That just like, why did you tell us it? Tell us that. You're you telling us this makes you sound incompetent. And given the state of how so many things have gone down over the past 2 years in Fab, I don't need another reason to think that you guys are incompetent. I don't want to think that, and then you keep doing bozo things that make me feel that way. MST's design, High C's release, so many things like that where I'm just like, man, what are you doing? Oh my God, and you're misprinting cards? What is going on? Who's driving the bus? I don't need more reasons to think that. Was it Brian that overshared that? I thought it was someone else. I could be wrong. It's been so long since I've watched that. I don't remember. Oh my God, the fucking ProQuest thing? Oh my God, a recent thing. The have you guys seen the gem update on the Flesh and Blood website? I'm sure most of you have seen that they've updated the website. It's fucking broken. I went to check the dates of some of the ProQuests in my area, and it changed it to fucking Japanese and then gave me New Zealand time zone dates for the events. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what events are going on now. I can't find shit. Like, how are you going to change this right before the ProQuest season and then release a broken product? What are you doing? Like, have someone look at this before you release it. What are we doing? I don't want to keep feeling this way constantly, but then it's like every couple of months something like this happens. It's not me. I'm not crazy. At least we don't have Secret Layer Dwight in this game, though. Like, we got that going for us. Yeah, I had to double check with a couple events. Like, I called an event to ask if I could schedule. I got in, and then I realized that was going on, and I had to call them back to double check the timing of everything because I was like, wait. Is this actually going on this day, or is it a different day because of the New Zealand time zone thing? What's going on? This just sounds so obvious. Anyways, I don't want to get unzipped on that. We got Kano. Oh, we got Kano. What can be said about Kano that hasn't already been said? How many of you have seen my video talking about just the entire ass hero? Just the entire ass hero. Oh, who's seen my Kano video? All right, Clarice, you're banned. Banned. I'm just kidding. No, I haven't seen this garbage lord Kano thing. I don't know what you're talking about. Feel free to post that in the Discord later, and I'll give it a view. Reported. Kano enjoyer reported. Get him out of here, boys. Now this is the divisionary politics that I want. I agree. I think one of my favorite moments in all of Flesh and Blood was literally a Kano game. It was I've definitely told this story before. Some of you might have heard me say this before. It was Vor's game against Austin in the LL Battle Hardened. I think this was at Amsterdam, but I could be wrong. It might have been Worlds. Where he FTK'd Austin in response to Austin attacking. And it all started by Austin pitching Lightosoul to play a Herald, and then Vor, in response to the Lightosoul trigger, going, I have responses, and proceeds to pitch a red to Stormstriders to play the Pot of Greed tome. That's how you know it's going to be a banger turn, when you crack Striders to Pot of Greed. And he FTK'd him. Crazy. Top of the crash out tier. Like, so top of the crash out tier, it might get its own tier with Scabs, like a separate tier with Scabs. But I think I have more hate for Scabs than I do Kano. Kano just is a similar thing to me though with Scabs, where there's two parts to Kano that I hate. The Howard turn tier, the Striders tier. The first thing that I hate about Kano is very similar to Scabs, of bad players just going, ook, 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 roll the dice. And bad Kano players will do that. They'll just start spamming the Kano hero power, and sometimes you just blow up. You had no business losing that game because they're bad, but they just hit the funny cards off the top and you lost, and there's nothing you could have done about that. Ragamuffins is fake. Just have the good cards on top of your deck. Like, why is that a thing that exists? The other thing that's I hate about Kano is this, where it's a 2-turn game that takes 30 minutes, and 28 of those minutes are Kano's turn. And you just get to sit there and watch them play the game while you play with your butthole. Like, this is such a bad play experience. I think this is a worse play experience than CYB is. Because at least with CYB, you get to play 100% of the game. Kano, you get to play 5% of the game and watch Kano play 95% of the game. It's so fucking boring and miserable. Like, what a horrible gameplay experience. I don't think there's a good Kano game. Either the Kano gets shit on and loses, and you don't feel like you played a real game of Flesh and Blood. The Kano just blocked until they had to combo off, failed their combo, and died. Or you got to watch them combo for 15 plus minutes and then you die. You're never playing a real game with them. It's not fun. Nobody's having a good time except for the Kano. Sometimes. I think Kano and Scabs are my two biggest crash outs in Fab. Let's not even get into like the new player experience. That's a whole separate thing. But that's just Wizard, right? Next we got Blitzball. just Blitzball. So this is to a placeholder for the entirety of the Blitz format. Now, originally, this was the who thought this was a good idea tier, and this was going to go here. But we have since renamed this tier, so it does not make sense to put it here. So we're going to have to make a new one. Oh, wait, you're true. Wait, you're so smart, chat. Oh my god. I did not see the vision. Oh my god, you guys are so much more smart than I am. True, it goes to the top of the flipping coins. Ironically, I have the legendary weapon that you get from Blitzball, so you would think that I would like this format. Unlucky. Do not show this to DM Ramada, though. DM Ramada will go into the crash out tier list if you show him this. Alright, next, we got Codex. I think this one's pretty straightforward. It's just way too powerful. I don't think this card is crash out worthy. It's just a eye roll when your opponent resolves this card tier. I think it's pretty straightforward. Low-key, Blitz is better? Okay, I believe you. I have no intentions of ever going back to play that format. A, they don't have any support for that format that would make me care about it. B, I don't believe you. Sorry. Yeah, Codex is such an unreasonable card. If this is if Awakening is a 2-card 18, Codex is very frequently a 1-card 8. Sometimes more. I will give Silver Age a try if there's support for the format that would make me want to engage with it. Like it's a competitive format with proper support. Until then, I do not give a shit. Let me pull up the meme that I made. This is how I feel about Mara. What are you messaging me about? Can I pull this up over here? I might have to do screen share. Oh my god, my Discord images just aren't loading. Maybe just have it on my computer. Pictures, screenshots. Nope, just funny Lucas pictures. Oh, it loaded. Download image. Save. Open image. Downloads. Share my entire screen. Display capture. This is how I feel about Silver Age. They heckin' love Silver Age. Meanwhile, literally no draft for this set, which I'm personally fine with. I don't actually like draft in Flesh and Blood. I think it's not very playable. And then, like, we have the LL format for Worlds, and they're just, like, doing nothing for it. Like, this format needs massive overhaul to be a format at Worlds. Silver Age. Like, there should be no Silver Age events. There should be zero. No, zero events. Make all of those events LL. So that way you get player data. Because they're balancing this format on player data, but then not giving us events for player data. I've already talked about this before, but we should have some callings for LL so they can get Yeah, like what a meme. Like they should have had the last BNR, 2 callings for LL, a BNR right before ProQuest season, and then a safety BNR that should say no changes after ProQuest season that will only have changes if they found out that they missed something. Or just to update that heroes rotated. And then from that BNR forward, no changes until Worlds, including hero rotation. That's what they should have done. Instead, yeah, fuck it. LL's perfectly fine. There's no problem in LL. What a joke. Anyways, at least it's not Blitz. Could be worse. We could be playing Blitz at Worlds. All right, Carrion Husk. I don't think this card is cringe. I think it's just, like, very powerful, but I don't think it's very cringe anymore. I think it was cringe a little bit when Chain was around, but it wasn't that Husk was cringe, it was that Chain was cringe. I don't think it's cringe. It's just a little too good. That's how I feel about it. It's basically the same as Lynx, right? It's just a very powerful card. Chain was the problem. Bro, part the Mistveil. What a fucking set. We already kind of shit on this earlier during the stream. This also would have gone in the who thought this was a good idea tier. But honestly, I think Part the Mistveil is worth going in the crash out tier, right under Kano. I think the balance of this set was horrendous. I made a video talking about that too, if you guys want to see that. If you want to see my 2 biggest crash outs on YouTube, go find my video talking about Kano and MST. MST constructed format was the single worst competitive format I have ever played in any card game ever. That's fucking impressive, and I played Yu-Gi-Oh! For like 15 years. This was dog shit. This was fucking horrendous. It is baffling that they made this set and didn't think, oh wait, what if we tested the hero whose hero power was Demonic Tutor? What would happen if you searched the other card that's Demonic Tutor? How good is that? Again, who's driving the bus? This was ridiculous. Kind of going back to that comment from earlier about Serenade of like, man, what the fuck is going on over there? Okay, we got a spicy one here, Chum. What do you guys think about Chum? Before we give a based opinion about Chum. I think it was pretty reasonable to decide to not play during then if that was like really cringe for you. I already had my trip booked to Amsterdam, so I'm kind of priced into playing that event. But I said leading up to that event, if I could have canceled my trip and gotten my money back, I just wouldn't have gone to Amsterdam, and I just would have skipped that Pro Tour. Ironically, I did really well at that Pro Tour, which is pretty funny. I really like the timeline of me doing really well at that Pro Tour, which I think was the worst format ever, which gives more validity to me to complaining about the format. It's not just me complaining because I scrubbed out. No, I did really well, and it was still terrible. Ah, I love when I have validity to my complaints. Martin, you think he did nothing wrong? That's crazy. Oh, Shane. Hey, Shane. I mean, you probably would have done well at that Pro Tour, Shane, because you played Zen a lot, right? That format was like a lot of decks that were like the style of deck that you enjoy playing, right? See, I hated it also because beyond the gameplay not being great, it was all decks that weren't the style of play that I enjoy playing. I mean, Assassin was one of the decks. It wasn't an Assassin meta. We should talk about LSS at the same time. Let's grab that also. I'm really surprised how many of you guys are saying Chum should go here. I'm really surprised by that. Because I honestly think Chum is pretty cringe. I think Chum goes here. I'm pretty surprised to hear all of you say he should go here. Like, complete opposite. I wish that I was going to London just so I could have told the team that they were psyoping themselves on that Enigma deck. I wasn't there to tell them that the deck they were playing was dog shit. Man, I don't agree with any of you guys. I think Tipple goes and did nothing wrong, and Chum goes in the way too powerful. Because now I think Gravy is just a cringe deck, where it's just still the best deck in the game, but he's inconsistent. So the games that he draws the funny cards early, it's like no, the bans didn't happen. I think if you just got like knocked down Slippy, Gravy would have just taken a massive hit in the meta anyways. Just a bunch of decks would have preyed on him. Because like the rest of the meta was incredibly hostile to him. It was just Slippy gatekeeping everything. I'm vetoing you, chat. I'm putting Chum up here. I'm not letting you psyop yourselves into saying Chum did nothing wrong. There's no way Chum goes and did nothing wrong. That's fucking kooky. It's kind of weird with Blood Rush, because sometimes you're not even supposed to Chum when they Blood Rush. If they have like a Might token and they Blood Rush, a lot of the times you're not supposed to Chum, because then they just claw your Chum for 6. Because they have Blood Rush plus Might token, so it just doesn't do anything. I don't think Chum is a little too good. Brother, it's a fucking 1 for 10. You spend 1 card and you get 10 value. How is this reasonable? It's Codex level good. Like, we ignore the text on the card. Pitch a blue, Dead Threads, play Chum, swing 4, soak 6. You got 10 value for 1 card. How is this at all reasonable? They needed to make it not swing for free. True. I guess when we talk about ALS, I want to talk about this as well. Because I have like 2 separate opinions about like Prism stuff. And I think both of these illustrate it very well. Oh, we got Moraga coming up. We can talk about that in a minute. ALS. I think ALS is crash out level good. I think back when it was just OG Prism, Monarch Prism, Sculptor of Arclight, ALS was probably way too good sometimes. A lot of the times, it was probably here. I boarded out of ALS in a lot of matchups back then. It just wasn't actually even that good. And into the matchups that it was good, it was way too powerful. It was like a game-winning card in some specific matchups. And then the rest of the time, it's all right. I have to put it in my deck because I have to put it in my deck. But yes, exactly. Now we move into new Prism, Awakener of Soul. That bumps ALS to cringe. And it's not just the ALS loop. It's getting multiple turns in a row with Shariah with chain ALSs. That shit is fucking cringe. This is absurd power level. When we were, I'm pretty sure I made a video talking about my thoughts on the BNR back during like MST era. And it was right before the tome ban. I was actually saying I wanted ALS to get banned. And then we got the tome ban instead, and it kind of did a similar approximation of this ban. And I'm okay with that instead. But like that's how I feel about ALS now. I think this card is obscenely powerful in New Prism, and realistically is a bit of a problem. Depends on the matchups, Martin. In some matchups, just getting an extra swing at a Shariah is good enough to win. In others, you need more than that. Against like the fatiguey decks, you definitely need more than one with your ALS to actually win. And that being said, if you get rid of ALS, I don't know how you win those matchups anymore. It might be too difficult. So like maybe you need to give Prism something else. And at this point, she's about to rotate. Just leave it alone. Let her rotate. But yeah, like 2 turns of Pot of Greed is pretty obscene. And the thing is, too, a lot of the decks are like pretty incentivized to hold their hand to kill the Shariah and like push damage. But then you call them a clown when they don't block by playing the ALS. So it ends up being worth even more. So if ALS is here, does that make sense why I think Chum is here? Because to me, I don't compare Chum to ALS that much. I compare Chum to Codex. Just like the raw value of this card is pretty obscene. But then it also sometimes turns into a mini ALS. Now, Luminaris. I know a lot of people used to have pretty spicy opinions about Prism back in the day. I mean, that's why we got this up here. I'm well aware of the counter. We somehow have just not gotten to a single card yet for the cringe for being bad. I'm just going to put something there first because, like, it's kind of triggering me that there's nothing here. Moonshot. We're going to put Moonshot here. I don't know who said Moonshot, but, like, this doesn't even go in the, like, did nothing wrong. This card just sucks ass. Like, I don't know. I think the only reason, basically, this category is like, I don't know why you would say these cards are cringe unless you're saying they're cringe because they're so dog shit unplayable. This is just the unplayable category. I don't know what the point of this category is beyond that. We're gonna move this down. No, I guess we can leave it there. Whatever. Yeah, gore belching. That's on here. Like, okay. Yeah. It's cringe because it sucks ass, I guess. Like, I don't know, man. Okay. Okay, I'm less triggered now that there's nothing here. Or that there's something here. Let's talk about Luminaris. For any of you young kids, you whippersnappers that weren't here back in the day, when us old heads were playing with Monarch Heroes, everyone was bitching about Prism. This hero is so broken. Spectra's cringe. To all of those people that cried back then, that shit was not cringe. You're cringe? You're bad at the game? You deserved to lose. Go watch the finals that Prism LL'd at. Go watch that game. That was your average Prism game. The Prism had no business winning the game. Opponent just decided to not clear the shimmers and let him get fucking like 15 value out of shimmers and won the game off of a single card. Average Prism gameplay. He could have Rosetta'd it like 5-6 times. Nah, I'm gonna go face. Nah. Like that was average Prism games. Spectra was pretty annoying for some decks to deal with. I'll give you that. But you're gonna come out here telling me that my deck is cringe when I'm playing a 3-card 1? Like I pitched 2 cards to play a yellow aura and swing for 1. Come on. Shut the fuck up. Let's be real. That wasn't very good. The actual power and value prop in what I was doing was I was presenting damage in damage packets that were incredibly inefficient to defend against. Meaning what I was doing was functionally true damage, giving me a very similar strength to what Viserai had back before he rotated. One of the strengths that Viserai had in like that last meta was you would sack value to stack up a bunch of rune chants and then come in for way more damage than your opponent could defend against, leading you to actualizing damage, functionally making it true damage. That's what you were doing in Prism. Your opponent couldn't block what you were doing because the damage was so small. Like, they can't block a bunch of Kodachis. They're just not going to do that. The cards didn't exist to defend against that. We just did not have the tools to deal with that. And then you'd get your opponent into the endgame state where they'd be Kodachi locked. You're just playing a Kodachi deck. If you say that Prism was broken, you're saying Kodachis are broken. Come on. Like, get the fuck out of here. Yes, some decks had a hard time dealing with that. But those decks sucked ass anyways. Prism punished opponents for their misplays and for just generally being bad at the game. Because they didn't understand what mattered, when to defend, how to prioritize clearing board, life thresholds. You were knowledge gapping your opponent without necessitating you having superior knowledge than your opponent on your side, because you would just do your thing, and if your opponent didn't know how to properly answer what you're doing, they would just lose. Obviously, you got a lot of mileage out of Prism if you were good at the game, because she had a lot of skill expression in how to manage life thresholds. But you would just skill check your opponent at the beginning of their knowledge of the game. Sure, but that's because she has a bunch of pot of greeds. It's not Luminaris making her broken. I'm going to be honest, like, in LL, I'm looking at new Prism right now, and I'm considering just playing the new Luminaris, not even the old one. Like, this card isn't actually that busted. It's very good. But the level of people, like, glazing the OG Prism and Luminaris did not match reality. It was good. It punished specific decks. It punished your opponent for being bad. But it was not broken. Bro, her hero power sucked ass. You're playing 3-card 1s. This deck isn't broken. And that's my TED Talk of why Prism did nothing wrong and she didn't deserve to LL. Let's talk about Striders. We're getting near the end. I added Striders on the request of chat. How do you guys feel about Striders? Back then, people complained more about Spectra than Luminaris, but Spectra was only good because of Luminaris. If you didn't have Luminaris, the Spectra cards wouldn't have mattered. Case in point, you can literally play that deck today with a different weapon, and it's bad. You're better off just playing those Spectra cards and not attacking with them at all. That's how bad it is. Yeah. So like, let's think about Striders in the context of the wider wizard pool, not just Kano. Let's exclude Kano from this conversation because Kano's up here, right? Like, we're not talking about Kano. We're talking about Striders and its effect on the wizard class. Blood Rush being up there is kind of crazy. I think whoever said Blood Rush is cringe. TBH. So realistically, we've got what? 3 main wizards that use this? We're not talking about Blitzball. We got Icelander, Verdance, Kano. And Verdance and Icelander are using this as like a mini half extra turn. They're using this to say, hey, I started the game with you already taking 4 to 6 damage. Sometimes more now with the 6 power stuff. So I just like start the game with damage already on you functionally. But we have to get to that point. I think this is very powerful, obviously. It's a question of if it's cringe. I think the floor of this card is here. It's a question of does it go higher? Do you crash out to this card? I don't think Striders is a crash out. Is it way too powerful? I think it's between. It's just a question: is it cringe? I think it's between these two categories. Is it cringe? I think. I feel like it's not cringe. That's me. I could see players that are more unfamiliar with Wizard and their shenanigans feel this card is pretty cringe just because of instant speed shenanigans and not knowing how to deal with that and how to think about the game, and it just being an aspect of the game they haven't quite learned yet. And it feels like their opponent is doing something unfair and they're kind of cheating. So I think for those people, it is cringe and it goes up here, right? They're doing something fundamentally broken and I don't understand why I lost and I don't know what I could have done about that. And that's probably just like a learning moment. But I think for most people that like once they've gotten past that learning moment, it probably goes here, but I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong on that. How do you guys feel? I think most of the time that you die to this, it's not that you died to the Striders, it's that you died because you made a misplay earlier in the game where you chose to trade damage when realistically you should have defended. You should have respected their kill range and defended with an extra card. And this could have been like way earlier in the game. This could not be necessarily like, oh, I don't want to go from 13 to 9. This could be like, I don't want to go from 25 to 22 because I have a card that I could very easily defend with here that doesn't really change things. And by me defending here, it means later on in the game I don't have to defend because this turn isn't significant. And the turn that I'm going to have, my opponent is just going to defend anyways. So I'm not actually going to leak damage here. Sure, but does that make it cringe? So do we agree that Striders is a very powerful card that exists in the game, but it's not cringe then? Or is this the consensus? It feels correct that it should go with Husk and Lynx. These cards are all basically, you started the game with like 5 to 6 value on the table. Like, these are all doing the exact same thing, right? Just a broken piece of equipment. You started the game with bonus value. Inducement. I don't know why this was on there. I don't necessarily think that inducement is bad, but like, why is this on here? Let's talk about some MST stuff. Did I miss any? Passover? It's a hand trap. Enough said. Kind of annoying to play against. Bonds isn't an MST card. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a MST exclusive. It's not a Mystic Hero thing. It's just an assassin card. Did I put Bonds on here? I did. We'll talk about Bonds separately. Because Bonds is an assassin thing, not a Mystic thing. Let's talk about new separately. So, my take on these two of Moragai Hat. I mean, Passover is a hand. Passover is only whatever if you haven't lost the game because of it. You clearly haven't cast a Rattlebones and then had your turn ended by your opponent playing Passover to banish the card, and then you've lost your action point because your card fizzles. You tell me it's whatever when you skip turn because of this. You learned from it by removing those cards from your deck. I think Moragai goes here or here, kind of similar to what we've been saying between these two categories of it's like it's a question of is Moragai cringe? Because I don't think Moragai is a crash out card. I think that Moragai in combination with Hat is a crash out, but by itself, I don't think Moragai is. I think the Hat was actually the problem. If you look at Enigma without the Hat, it really wasn't that impressive. Establishing the board states with Moragai that were like really obscene only worked because you had the Hat. You remove the Hat from the equation, what you're doing is just like pretty okay. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's your power card. You did the thing. It's your power card. You're allowed to have good cards in your deck. The Hat? Okay, you're winning the game on the spot. What you've done is obscene. Your opponent can no longer win the game. Checkmate. I will never take damage again. I will end the game at my current life total. I feel like you could argue this is crash out territory, but I don't think this is like an actual crash out card. It's just like the card was way too strong. And we kind of already covered just like its MST is a crash out of like why does the set exist? This feels very similar to me as like these other cards where it's like I roll this card is really really good, but I'm not going to crash out over it resolving. And by that reasoning, I think Moragai then goes here. Yeah, but like I'm saying, I think the Zen is like it's just MST. It's not the Hat, right? I don't know. You could argue that it goes up here, but okay. You know what? You know what? I'm willing. Do you guys think a Hat should be crash out? I'm willing to put Hat and crash out. I don't feel that strongly about this. Do you guys think it should go higher? All right, I put up a poll. Like I said, I don't feel strongly about this. If you guys feel like it should go in crash out, I'm willing to put it higher. All right, I'm gonna let the poll run for a little bit longer. Sounds like you guys think it's way too powerful. I'll look back in a minute and then change it if the poll flips. Though I almost want to put it higher because, like, if we feel that way about Zen with Hat, and certainly we put New in Crash Out, right? Like, I feel like New is such a Crash Out hero, then maybe the Hat should go higher. But, like, that's New didn't really play the Hat that often, so that's probably disingenuous, right? Does anyone disagree with putting New in Crash Out? Because I feel like this hero was probably the definite, like, when I think of cringe, I think of New. This hero was so absurdly cringe to play against. Every answer that you have is wrong. You don't get to play the game. I'm going to take all your things. Oops, I hit a card off the top of your deck that you needed to win the game, and now you can't win the game anymore. Does it go up here? I think it goes up here. I think Kano's more cringe. And the set of like, certainly MST as a whole is more cringe than New, right? At least against New, you can, like, game plan a bit to beat her, right? You can decide to bring in sideboard cards for her. You can enact a strategy where when she finally gives you space, you flip the game. We're in MST, so you can play things like oh my god, what was the name of the 20 damage mystic card? Cosmic Awakening? Is that the name of the card? Like, there are things that you could do for New. I don't know what my point was with that. I kind of lost my thought there. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll. This is an interesting one. Ashwings. Someone said Ashwings specifically, and someone else said maybe it was the same person said Rake the Embers Red. I actually think Ashwings were pretty cringe. I felt like Ashwings, kind of similar to Spectra, just said like certain strategies just can't beat this. It was pretty annoying to deal with back then. It felt like this single, like, casting one Rake the Embers just made certain decks shake your hand. That was actually a card I wanted banned back then also. Near the end, like after Tome, I really wanted her to get Rake banned, so that way some decks could actually have some amount of counterplay into her. But I don't know where I would want to put it here. Because maybe that opinion's wrong too. Like, maybe it just goes and like did nothing wrong. And it's just the same thing as other things that we've talked about, where it's like, whatever, those decks just don't get to be good for a while. Who cares? And would banning this even move the needle? Like, would those decks still, like, if you ban Rake, does Azuri ever beat you? Probably still no. And I think you need this to exist if you're gonna make a hero like that where it really can't play AB very easily. I want to know if anyone else has an actual opinion about this, because I think that I want to put this here, or like here. Well, it's a no pitch Kodachi that like you had to spend significant resources to resolve it. Because to resolve a Rake the Embers, it means that you've pitched 2 reds. And at that point, you're neutral on Ash. So you spent 3 cards on 3 Kodachis. Depending on the deck, that can be incredibly good, or it could be like whatever. I think I'm willing to put it here. They're pretty good. Let's bang out a couple of these that just suck ass. This just sucks ass. This just sucks ass. This just sucks ass. This just sucks ass. Someone put the whole assassin suite on the thing, being cringe that assassin gets armor that does both. I really don't think that's cringe, because I think that's actually pretty flavorful to what assassin does. If you think about like how a lot of the assassin stuff is, it's about them researching their target and then coming equipped with the proper tools to fight them. This to me feels like exactly what an assassin would do. They would study their target, go, I'm playing against someone that's going to be heavy arcane. Well, then I should be prepared for that so I can attack that specific target. This feels like exactly what the class should be doing. It's either did nothing wrong or not cringe get good. I think it did nothing wrong. Weirdly, I feel like Duskblade did nothing wrong. This card got banned before it was released. And the more I've thought about it, the more I think that Duskblade wasn't actually good in Tales of Aria meta. I'm not even. I think this card would have technically seen play, but like it was not a card that Chain needed. Its existing anti-fatigue package was perfectly fine without this, and I think Rosetta was just better. The amount of ramp up time that you need for Duskblade to be better than Rosetta was pretty significant. You can never miss with this. Like if you miss on doing the thing to turn this on, you lose all your progress. And the split damage was extremely relevant into fatigue decks, stressing their ability to actually block your damage. And it actually bought cards from the fatigue deck when you were on your small turns, that like your early shackles that don't really leak damage, but then you attacked with a weapon that demands 2 cards. And then once you get into your later shackles, it doesn't matter because you're doing so much damage that you're overwhelming them. Siege was not legal. Siege was banned, I thought. Or did they unban it? Because they banned Seeds after Vegas, right? Did they unban it? I can't remember anymore. Seeds was 1000% banned after Vegas. 1000%. Right after that, it was banned. Was it unbanned is the question. Here's another one where it's like, I don't know why this is on here. Does anyone actually think this card is like cringe? I'm pretty sure this goes up here. I don't remember the name of this card. It's the like draw a card if they have a certain number of D reacts or whatever. This is a pretty easy one. Bonds. I think we can all agree Bonds goes in the crash out, right? Burdens, thank you. Bonds 1000% goes in crash out, right? Probably goes up here with Sirens. Now, Toxin is an interesting one. I don't think Toxin goes in crash out. I think it's like kind of like the rest of these, just like a little bit too much value. I don't think Toxin is crash out. Still waking up in a cold sweat thinking about Bonds. It can't hurt you anymore. You just have PTSD. Get help. What do you guys think? Is Toxin cringe? It's very powerful or too good. Is it cringe-worthy though? I feel weird putting Toxin in the same category as like Codex, Traverse, Awakening. I don't think it's in the same category as these. It feels pretty disingenuous putting it with like Codex and shit. I think you could even have the argument of not cringe, get good, just block better. Because it's just damage, right? Like, just don't block the kiss. Okay, I'm putting Bully Tactics in Crash Out because I have already crashed out from this card. But I'm gonna put it at the bottom of Crash Out. Someone at the world premiere Bully Tactics to me twice because they returned it with their hat. Fuck that. Surely it goes in Crash Out if I have literally crashed out to the card. I was playing Tough Nut. I was literally playing Tough Nut. And I like 1000% win the game if he doesn't have Bully Tactics. There's the only card in the game that wins him the game. Intimidate 2 doesn't even do it. It has to be Intimidate 3. Skill issue. Should have played around Intimidate 3 twice. Let's see. Dishonor. Is Dishonor a crash out? I feel like you could argue Dishonor's a crash out from it resolving. But I feel like it's not like actually good enough for that to happen. It feels like Red in the Ledger territory. Ooh, Dishonors get good? Okay. I hear you. You're 1000% allowed to comment on it if you play Katsu. If you think your opponent's a bozo for crashing out to Dishonor and they could have just like made better plays, then I think that's a legitimate opinion. That's fair. Like, you know it's coming, just block the Dishonor, right? Goes down here? Agree? What Scar Wraps? Is that the gloves? Which you know are there. You have eyes in your head and you see that it's there. So again, that'd be good, right? Yeah, so like realistically, it's just here's a big damage turn. You have to block this thing at the end. Yeah. That's why God gave you armor, right? Oh, I guess we can add a tier for that and then add ball lightning because I think fork lightning was the other one. I guess we don't need the yap anymore because this is small enough that's easy to talk about. What should we call this? This is like the both of these cards are pretty annoying for judge things. Ball lightning has a bunch of weird rules interactions, and then fork lightning keeps getting errata or has weird judge things. Judge breaker. Just the rules on these are annoying. Okay, so we have swell and belittle now. I feel like at this point it feels like the consensus from a lot of people is belittle should go in the did nothing wrong. I'm inclined to think it goes in the not cringe, just a little too good. Kind of like swell. I think both of these go here. Exude, good looks. That's a good one. We'll go with that. I like that. If it fits. So when they do it blind, it just means that it didn't matter if they hit. They just like didn't need the extra resources. I don't think crashing out over blinding that is a real thing. That just means like you need to understand gravy a bit better, in my opinion. Because if this needs to hit, then you always compass. If they're just blinding this, it means that it just like had no impact on their turn whether or not it hit. That's fair, I guess. Do other people agree with us? It feels pretty disingenuous to say that it's higher than this though. Feels pretty unreasonable to play swell that way. Okay, well, we'll leave it at this unless some people start commenting disagreeing with us. Trying to wrap this up is getting late. Spurlocked. I fucking hate this card. I think Spurlocked is my least favorite card to exist in Flesh and Blood. I think if this card resolved against me, I would crash out. Just because I hate this card. When I saw the like original version of this card, all I could imagine and picture was Brody trying to resolve this card. Now, I don't know if you guys know Brody and how he plays the game, but all I could picture was how he would resolve it, where he would just be super overthinking it. Okay, so optimally, I should pay 2 life for this because that's the value of the card that I want to search for this. But if you know that I'm going to pay 2 life, then you should pay 3. But if I know you're going to pay 3, then I should pay 4. But if I'm going to pay 4, that's too much, then I should just not pay for this at all. But if you know that I'm just not going to pay for it at all, then you're just going to pay 1, get a free card. But if I know you're going to pay 1, then I should go back to 2. But if that's going to happen, then and just him going down this whole long streak of I know that you know that I know that you know with it, and taking fucking 15 minutes thinking about how to resolve this card. That's all I can picture when I think about this card, which is so ironic of the person that made the card. I don't know where that would go in this whole thing. I guess we'll just put it in time wasters for that reason. Because to me, this is a card on the list just for me. For my reasoning, it just goes in time wasters. I don't think that's an issue in reality. I'm just doing this for myself. It's my birthday. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. You can't stop me. Scalata. Way too powerful. Pretty clear cut with that. You could maybe argue that it goes up higher, but I don't think Scalata's cringe to the crash out level. Just, oh, they did their thing. Stubbies, same idea. Way too powerful. Art of War, same idea. High Octane, same idea. I don't crash out when any of these things hit the board. It's just broken cards doing broken things, right? Bonds, maybe the same thing. I'm willing to hear some arguments of where this should go, though. Because I'm not necessarily just thinking about Bonds in context of right now. I'm thinking of Bonds in the context of the entirety of its history in Fab, right? Like, when we were at peak MST, man, this might have been up here. But that's probably just a reaction to how broken that deck was. I think it goes here, but I'm willing to hear you guys convince me otherwise. But again, I'm not just talking about right now. I'm talking about the history of this card in Fab. The spectrum of this card. So realistically, we're talking about Zen when it was using this. And potentially could still use it in LL if like things change, right? You think Art of War is crash out? That's crazy. I think it's pretty reasonable to put this up here with like Awakening and shit. Needles. I think Needles now, with all the new support it's gotten, is way too powerful. I've had some moments that felt crash outy to me, but I don't think it's quite there. Yeah, exactly. Like if we're saying Codex is up here for being a 0 for 8, same idea, right? So I'm gonna put it here as it did nothing wrong. I just kind of wanted to talk about Reaping Blade a little bit. I'm actually really surprised that this card hasn't gotten hit on a BNR. I really thought that they were going to hit this at some point just to be like, okay, we're fucking done with Rune Blades having a one cost weapon. We got rid of Rosetta finally, and now the Rune Blades just started playing this, and this in conjunction with Grasp being a little too good. I was really expecting them when they did the hits to Florian, like half a year ago or whatever, for them to do this instead of going after Germinate. I think that would have been pretty reasonable. Like, no, you have to play one of the other weapons. Stop going Grasp Reaping Blade. Actually do what we wanted you to do. But I don't think these like are actually cringe or an issue or anything. Someone put Grasp on there though for a different reason. Someone put Grasp on the Discord thing because it's a piece of equipment that continues generating value even after you fully blocked with it. I don't really think that's a problem. I don't really think that's particularly cringe. I'm like kind of whatever about that. Like, if you think that's cringe, does Braveforge Bracers also go on here? Like, yeah, it's good because of that, but that doesn't make it cringe in my opinion. I don't personally take issue with that, but yeah, I think it having temper probably would have been better for the game. I do agree Runeblade's identity has kind of gotten away from it a little bit. Originally, I think that was like the biggest reason that it made sense for Belittle to be banned back in the day, because it eliminated the deck building restriction that you had in your deck. When you're playing Runeblade, and this was banned back in like the League of Runeblades, the deck building restriction that you had was you're trying to play an attack and a non-attack every turn, and Belittle completely removed that deck building restriction. That's no longer the issue. Now the issue is just they continue getting absurd armor and absurd cards. Final stretch. We got 3 cards. These 2 are just extras that I can't get. I have no idea how to get rid of these. Sonic Boom. Where do you guys think Sonic Boom should go? I do think Sonic Boom is kind of cringe to play against. I could see it going flipping coins as skill based though. I lost to Peter at the Realm 20k because he went like Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, and then played like 5 tomes. Okay. True. Fuck Kano. I can also see just like not including this card at all because like if we're just saying Kano as a hero is here, is this card realistically a problem outside of Kano? Like this card sucks outside of Kano. It even sucks in Kano sometimes. So if we eliminate Kano from the equation, this card sucks ass, right? Like no wizard has ever played this. Other than Kano. Outside of Blitzball. I have no idea if any of the Blitzball heroes play it. I think because of that, I'm just not going to include this. So we'll just leave this down here because I don't think it's worth like having a separate thing for this. Because if we add this, then we have to add Blazing. We have to add all the other cringe Kano cards. And that's not the point. Like we have Kano that covers everything. Yeah, but we're not talking about Blitzball here. Channel and Hypothermia. Last 2 cards. Then we can finally go to bed. I'm so excited for bed. I regret starting this at 10 p.m. Mistakes were made. I think these cards are cringe. I'm pretty annoyed when I play against these cards. Hypothermia probably can go here because of Icelander. It gets weird though with Starvo because Starvo also can play this card. Ultim didn't play hypo, right? Okay, I hear you on CLF. Let's do hypo first. Focus, chat. Focus. Hypo. Does it make sense to put hypo anywhere else? Like, this feels like mostly an Icelander card, and if it's an Icelander card as a hand trap, is kind of how I view it. Technically not a hand trap. That's just a trap. I set one trap face down and end my turn, and then I play my trap and end your turn. But you play this in LL Icelander now. Sure, I don't think the thematics of it really have much bearing to this. I brought up the thematics when we were talking about the Widow thing because the argument for it being on here was, why do they get access to this? That was the reason for it even being on the list. So thematics was the argument for it not being a problem. What do you mean about the Sonic Boom thing? Because like this is like actively a card people play in LL and Icelander. I think I'd just leave it here. It doesn't sound like anyone has a strong argument for otherwise. It sounds like chat spoken on channel though. I don't think I put channel in Crash Out, but y'all have opinions about this. Do you guys want hypo in Crash Out? All right, what are you guys feeling about channel? Tell me your thoughts. Last card, and then we're done. True. But I love Channel Lake Frigid. It lets me make Ash. Just play blues? Get good? I mean, the answer was get good and play belittle back then. But then they took that from us. Belittle my beloved. Do we need to put Naora in Crash Out tier? Wait, I know how to get rid of these. I think I'm going to delete this entire cringe for being bad tier. For anyone that wants to take a screenshot to complain about this on Reddit. No, they go down here instead. Damn it. Okay, you guys are divided. Let's put up a poll. I'm kind of down for the it's either way up here or it's way down here. I'm kind of down for that. Cuz that's kind of how I'm feeling too. Not going to lie. Cuz near the end of the lifespan of CLF in back when we had Icelander and shit like that. That's really what it turned into. You built game plans around how would my turn structure be if they had a CLF, and you figured that shit out ahead of time. So it was a skill check. So I could see it be down here. Like it was just, yeah, this is something that you have to play around. And realistically, from the POV of the other side, if they did have a plan, it really wasn't that good. You spent a card and 2 resources to do nothing. And a card and 2 resources was kind of bad for your curve because now you can't Waning Moon. So you have to Tunic Moon for that to make sense. You're not making any damage progress really when you're doing that either, because if you do that and then Tunic Moon, well, they're already skipping their turn, so they'll just AB instead. So this just made people fuck off, but it didn't actually accomplish anything. What about Euro and 6 million resources? Oh, we're divided now. Did I sell you guys on it not being crash out? I'm kind of selling myself on it going down here, to be honest. Because, like I said, near the end of its lifespan, it really was just a skill check. If a card is a skill check, it certainly goes in the not cringe get good, right? Like that's by definition this category, right? Lexi sometimes played CLF, but it really wasn't even that good. I played it in my Lexi deck a couple times, and it was like kind of medium. Honestly, it was like the worst card of my deck. OG Ice Lexi played it because like you just had to play that, you didn't have other options. But that deck sucked ass. Man, we were still divided on this. Holy. I'll give you guys a few more seconds if anyone else wants to vote, and then I'm just gonna make a decision myself, which is probably just gonna be put it in the get good because I think I sold myself on that. Well, the thing with playing that in Lexi is very similar. Of you're not making damage progress by playing this, and then by playing that, you just tell your opponent to block. But then you're doing less damage on the turn cycle because you played this, making it easier to block you out. Realistically, the purpose of it was to make your opponent not able to play defense reactions on the turn, which is like, it's fine. It really wasn't that good in Lexi. Realistically, it's Elf. I'm glad that we ended on okay, Arctic is crash out. Arctic is 1000% crash out. Okay, so you guys seem to think it's crash out, but it's pretty close. I'm just debating if I want to veto your vote. Because I think I sold myself on it being get good. It feels like the same argument we made for Dishonor of just you just play differently because you know it exists. Yeah, I'm gonna veto you guys. I think it goes here. True. Speaking of shut the hell up, we're done. Chat, we can finally go to bed. Nope, no democracy. This is America. We don't believe in free speech here. I feel pretty good about this. What do you guys think? I mean, not about the free speech thing. I feel pretty miserable about what's going on in America. But the tier list I feel pretty good about. If we had to tier list how I feel about America, my nihilism for the country would definitely go in the crash out tier. What is the card to the left of shelter? Scanning. Calculating. Where's shelter? That is the Leyline card from Mastery Pack Guardian. All right, I'm gonna zoom out. Y'all can take a picture and put this shit on Reddit and call me a clown. Okay, yeah. What's your favorite things on the tier list? What made you laugh the most? I think the guy this made me laugh the most. That was a fun stream. I'm glad that we did this. We should do something like this again at some point. If you guys have any ideas of fun things that we can do like this in the future, I am all ears. Feel free to let me know, either in a future stream or on the Discord. The guy in the poor tier list is probably the funniest. Oh, the poor, like, what are you, poor? Mm-hmm. Straight to crash out. I didn't know when I added this it was a GIF, and I just went to Google Images for a person falling asleep for fatigue as a strategy. This is supposed to represent fatigue as a strategy. If anyone does put this on Reddit, don't elaborate. Let them guess. I think my other favorite is the Blitzball. I'm gonna just start calling that format Blitzball from now on. Which thing, Ed? The Blitzball or the guy? I heckin' love Blitzball. That was a great minigame. Hopefully they add Blitzball in 14 someday. I actually really liked Blitzball. Yeah, 10 was such a good game. I think 10 is probably the best Final Fantasy game. Like 10 or 14. I'm surprised they haven't done any collaboration or like crossover type of thing in 14 with 10 at all. I don't think there's a single reference in there other than like some super minor thing, maybe. I guess you can get Yuna's outfit and Titus's outfit, but woo, cash shop items. Let's rearrange this slightly. Let's put the what do you pour with the rest of these goofy ones. Oh, I loved it. It was so much fun. It was a good mini game. What I hated was the dodge lightning 100 times mini game. I could never do that. I tried doing that for like 2 hours once and I failed every time. I'd get into a rhythm and then I'd fuck up and lose my rhythm. Okay. That being said, that's it for stream. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's late. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the happy birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Try streaming again probably Tuesday if I'm not on the podcast, or Thursday. Tomorrow, I am going to try finishing up my gravy guide and then have my teammates proofread it and then try having that out sometime next week. I got to figure out where I'm posting it. I'm either going to post it on my Patreon as like a individual thing that you have to pay a bit more for, or I'm going to be posting on a Metafy and then just putting a discount code on my Patreon so you can get it for cheaper if you're already on the Patreon. I'm not trying to fucking double dip with you guys or anything like that. Just I don't know how to set it up on my Patreon to have it be the price that I need it to be, if that makes sense. Because like I can't put that up for $5. That's too cheap. So I'm gonna try having that out in the next week. I will try having an updated gravy deck list for the Pro Quest season as well, because I have a couple like small updates to the deck. Nothing major. So like if you wanted to take the deck that I already posted and take that to Pro Quest season, it's still perfectly reasonable. It's just like a couple minor tweaks that I think I want to make to the deck, but I'm still experimenting with some stuff. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. If you got value out of this content and you enjoyed it, check out the Patreon, subscribe to